What's up, everybody? It's JayViper here. Thank you so much for stopping by another episode of Oh My God, we're getting gaslit again by a company, except this time it looks like PC Gamer has jumped in with Ubisoft to also try to help gaslight people and make them think that Assassin's Creed Shadows is doing much, much better than it actually is, because they like to use words like players instead of units sold, which really lets them toy with the numbers and make things look a lot better than they are by massaging things the best way they know how. But I'm staying on top of the numbers, and I have really solid numbers I think that you're going to want to check out to see how Assassin's Creed Shadows is really doing out there. We're also going to be checking out that PC Gamer article because it is ridiculous, and they're actually lying right inside of it, and I'm going to show you where. Let's get to all this right after you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
JayViper is awesome. He's so good looking. He's got the crowd in awe.
So here we have PC Gamer saying Assassin's Creed Shadows hits 2 million players, putting it on track to be the series' most successful game yet. Now, they're already using the same terminology that Assassin's Creed is, because they're saying players and not units sold. This is not something that we saw in the past with Assassin's Creed. They talked about units sold, but of course now they're talking about players because of the Ubisoft Premium Pro that lets people play without actually buying the game. They're really renting it. Assassin's Creed Shadows hit another milestone, putting it just a katana slash away from becoming the biggest game in the series. The biggest game in the series. This is where we're going already. This is crazy. Now they're saying just days after release, Assassin's Creed Shadows hit another milestone as it passed 2 million players, according to Ubisoft. Now they're talking about this where they said 2 million players. And I mean, I've been all over this as well. Many people have. We know this terminology. I already had a video that went over this. It's ridiculous, but let's just continue for now. We'll get to that. So Assassin's Creed Shadow has surpassed the launches of AC Origins and Odyssey. Shadows had already sailed past 1 million players in the first 24 hours, easily breaking AC Valhalla's record. To put that into perspective, when Valhalla released in 2020, Ubisoft claimed it was the biggest PC launch ever, although the game's Steam player base remains smaller than other games in the AC franchise. 5 years later, Shadows seems to have eclipsed even that. Now, I want to talk about this because this is a false comparison, big time. Let's look at when it was released on Steam. Valhalla was released on Steam December 6, 2022, okay? But Valhalla released November 10th, 2020. It released as an exclusive Epic Store release on November 17th, 2020, 1 week after official release. It didn't come to Steam until 25 months after its release, and they're trying to compare it that somehow it beat Valhalla, their biggest PC launch ever. This is a complete false comparison. You cannot compare it. It's not the same, because even when Ubisoft has said it was the biggest PC launch ever, they're talking about on Epic when it was an exclusive release there. So this is just absolutely a lie. It's a false equivalence. So this record-breaking wave of players at launch is thanks to part in fact, that Ubisoft didn't wait to release Shadows on Steam. Now, that's true. The reason they have as many people as they do playing Shadows is because they didn't wait. The fact that they've been holding back anyway in the past and trying to get people on Ubisoft Connect has been a huge fail, and they have noticed this. A big one, I think, was Outlaws. They had no shot with Outlaws because of the way they did it, and that's the last time that they have had a big release that wasn't directly to Steam on day one. So at the time of writing, Shadows' peak player count was around 60,000. It has eclipsed it because Shadows has officially hit 64,825. So now it is the one Assassin's Creed that has the most players on Steam, okay? It is or at least the highest peak current player count. I don't know if it's sold the most because I haven't dug into the other numbers, but that's unimportant. We're going to get into the numbers of this game in a second, but we're going to finish with this PC Gamer lie. Now they're saying, in fact, Shadows is on track to be one of the biggest game releases of the year. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was hailed as a hit earlier this year and took 2 weeks to hit 2 million players, a milestone Shadows reached in a few days. Again, players, okay? So for my estimate on Steam, Shadows has sold right around 450,000 copies, and that is actually being pretty generous. It may be less. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 sold 2 million copies. They didn't have a rental system that Ubisoft has, which is where a very large amount of that 2 million players has come from. Another thing to keep in mind is that Shadows is rumored to cost between 250 and 350 million, and I very much doubt it's close to 250. It's closer to 350. Now, let's pretend that Ubisoft could somehow make $50 per copy. It's not that high, but let's pretend. To get to 300 million, they'd have to sell 6 million copies, and we know that these aren't sales already, okay? A lot of these are the rentals for $18 a month, and they aren't coming close. So no, this is not comparable, okay? $40 million Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was a commercial success, almost out of the box, whereas Shadows is a commercial failure, and by a lot, by the way. Shadow's success is a much-needed win for Ubisoft. A much-needed win. It's a win already, even though the stock is tanking, which had a rough year in 2024 and was relying on Shadows to turn things around. After a string of flops like Outlaws and Skull and Bones, Shadows is a breath of fresh air. They couldn't have come at a better time. This person is writing as if Shadows is saving Ubisoft. Shadows is a tremendous failure right now. A huge failure. I can't believe I'm reading this. Ubisoft is reportedly in talks with Tencent to invest in a new IP unit that will include Assassin's Creed franchise. What an interesting way to put that, to sell off parts of itself, but it's investing. This deal could give Tencent, already one of Ubi's largest shareholders, an even bigger hand in controlling future Assassin's Creed games. Shadow's success may help bolster Ubisoft's confidence and hold off a full-on ownership change in the company. This person's talking like Shadows is doing so well that Ubisoft isn't going to sell off. This is an absolutely insane reach. I want to know if this person understands economics even a little bit. I can't imagine they do. This is Stevie Bonafide that's writing this, just so you know, a contributor. So he's a freelance tech journalist. Well, there you go. The guy doesn't know much about this stuff. Players don't seem to have been deterred by the culture war controversy drummed up in the lead up to Assassin's Creed Shadows, which saw predominantly Western influencers and other commentators spreading a racist reaction to Black Samurai co-pro tag Yasuke.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
So it was racist to say that he's been made up and then put in a position of a samurai, even though we know that's true. Despite the fact that Yasuke was a real person and the first Black Samurai. Oh, wow!
Oh my god. Stop fucking lying.
No! Oh, Stevie. Come on, buddy. You gotta be better than that. You know that's not true, don't you? Yikes. So that guy's absolutely cooked, but let's take a look at the numbers real quick. We already looked at Valhalla. Assassin's Creed Origins was a day one release on Steam. It released the exact same day as everywhere else. It got 41,000 peak almost right away, as you can see over here. Boom, like right away release, and it went up for the weekend. This is pretty normal, and that's what we'd expect to see. October 27th, 2017, and that was a global release. Assassin's Creed Odyssey released on October 2nd, and just a few days later, October 5th, it came to Steam, so it actually had a PC launch on Steam. It didn't have anywhere exclusive, and it did 62,000. And again, you see the normal release up to the weekend, boom, on a Sunday, and it peaked. This is the same thing we saw with Shadows, where it went up onto a Sunday. Now, someone brought something up. Wes brought something up. I don't really talk about this because I don't go back and forth between like how big Steam was, but it is a decent point. When Odyssey released and hit 62K, there was 90 million people on Steam. That was 2018. Okay, but today, Steam has more than 175 million users. Okay, there's a big, big jump. So really, when you take that in there, they're about 40,000 short of the percentage. So they should hit over 100,000 to be equal or close to Odyssey. So as far as the percentage goes, they're short. They have more in numbers, but not as much of a percent of Steam is playing, if that makes sense. So Assassin's Creed put out that they had the 2 million players. Okay, now I'm going to get into the real sales as close as I can estimate them, all right? Now, this whole player situation is not sales, and I've had people come at me saying, haha, they've sold 2 million copies. I'm like, my friend, you have been bait and switched. You've fallen for it because they're saying players here. These are not copies. Again, people are using Ubisoft Premium Plus to rent the game for a month for $18. I'm sure there's people that have Ubisoft Premium Plus all the time paying for it, but again, they're already paying for it. They're just getting it. I don't think a lot of people would get on there and then keep it without just canceling it right now if they just want to play Shadow. So here's some numbers I have, okay? We're going to go over these. But as of right now, Assassin's Creed ownership falls in line for about this. PlayStation 5, 455,000 people have purchased it. Xbox, around 225,000. Steam, 470,000, for a total of 1.15 million total copies sold. And I think this is actually a pretty generous number. It could very well be lower. It's not going to be much higher if it is, and I don't think it is. The one thing I don't have is Ubisoft Connect numbers and Epic Store numbers, but again, those actual sales wouldn't be as high. That's where people go, Ubisoft Connect, to rent, but people generally don't go there to buy it. It would be on Steam, although I'm sure people have, but it's not a very large percent. So to get these numbers, okay, I go to PSN profiles and I see how many people are owning the game. This is out of 903,000 people that are on the site. This is a very large percentage of the user base of PS5 PSN users, which is about 49 million. So this is nearly a million. So you take this number, you multiply it by 54, because that's what you get, and you come out with the number that I have here, 455,000. Xbox ownership is about 30% of PlayStation. However, one thing you can do is say that, Microsoft Store is also in there. Some people must be buying it that way on PC. So I bump it up again. I give it pretty much a half, all right? 50% of PlayStation 5 equals about what you're selling on Xbox and Microsoft as a whole. So that gets 225,000. And then we go and look at this peak right here. I usually put a number between 5 and 10x, depending on how much hype is around the game, how popular, the positivity around the game, and of course, how long the game is. This is a pretty mid-hype game, mid-length game, okay? People would not sit there for 10, 12 hours and playing it. It's not a grinding game where you have to keep going, and like Monster Hunter, people spend more time, so the multiple would be lower. But this, I gave it a 7, and that puts us right here about 470,000. These are where the numbers come from. The total's right about 1.15 million total sales. And again, it's not much higher than this, folks. You're not going to see a whole lot more numbers than that. So if they have 2 million players, it really tells you how heavily people are renting the game. They're giving Ubisoft $18 for the month to play the game, and a lot of those people have gone in, started subscription, canceled the subscription. That's exactly what I did for other games in the past, and I'm sure a lot of people are utilizing that because gamers find ways to play things for less. This isn't a game a lot of people would play for months and months. They know, I'll be done this game inside a month. Let me go rent it, and that's exactly what I think is happening, and it's exactly why Ubisoft is saying players. If they were doing well with copies, they'd be saying copies. And with that being said, I've seen people say, where's the 1 million copies sold? We have to wait for that too. They've already started saying players. I don't think they're going to tell us when they've sold 1 million copies because it would look like they're walking back the 2 million players. I think they're going to stick with the players, which sucks for us. But you know what? We here on this channel, I'm going to stay on top of these numbers. And hey, if they go up, they go up. And I am keeping track of this. Follow me on X. I am posting this. Of course, this comes from X. I've had 3 posts about it, 1 per day to kind of keep up with the numbers. So swing on by there and let me know what you think about the information, because I think it's pretty good. It's pretty solid. My numbers were right on there for Dragon Age the Veilguard 2, and I used the same type of formula, and they were absolutely spot on. So there we go. We've been gaslit again. PC Gamer jumping in on it for some reason. I don't know what's the deal with that. There's no reason to defend this game, but they have found a reason. There must be money involved somehow, because why else would they be doing this? It's ridiculous, unless maybe it's culture war stuff, because of course Stevie had to talk about culture war things in there, and he's trying to own the chuds. But it's us once again owning these woke freaking idiots, because this game, I'm sorry, Assassin's Creed Shadows is a massive failure. It costs so much money to make, they're not going to come close to making it back. And we're going to see parts get sold on Ubisoft. It's going to happen in the coming months, so wait for that. Layoffs, sale of the company, IP sales, it's all coming. Shadows couldn't save them. We didn't think it would, but there was always a chance that it would happen, and it's just not going to happen. Anyway, let me know what you think about all this in the comments below, because I would love to hear your thoughts on this situation. I'm out of here, so until next time, take care of yourselves. See you later. Love you in peace. Bye, everybody.